Yes, the microphone's on. It promises it's on. This will be the second time I've recorded these 6 videos. We'll see if it stays on. So, point gradient form. So this is a really useful formula that you should work to memorize. It's y minus y1 equals m outside of x minus x1. So if you know a point, so a point x1 comma y1, you know the gradient, which remember is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, then you can figure out the equation of a line straight away using this formula. Very useful. Hooray! Let me show you. So in this question, we've got the gradient of the line. They've given it to us, and they've given us a point it goes through. We're going to do y minus y1. Now here, y1 is this 1, equals m, which is 2, outside of x minus x1. And this x1 is here. So we don't know y and x, like we don't need to. We're just coming up with an equation. We're not trying to solve it. So we've got, let's expand those brackets. Y minus 1 equals 2x, take 2. Let's, now, they're morons, and they've asked us to do it in general form, which means we need to get everything over to the left equals 0. So we've got y minus 1 minus 2x plus 2 equals 0. So like terms, so we've got y minus 2x minus 1 plus 2 is plus 1. Okay, next one. They've told us the gradient's minus 1. It goes through 3, 1. So we've got y minus this 1 equals negative 1 outside of x minus 3. So that gives us y minus 1 equals negative x plus 3. Let's get everything over the left. Y minus 1 plus x, take 3. So we've got y plus x, take 4, equals 0. Question C goes through the point 0, 0. So we've got y minus 0 equals negative 5 outside of x minus 0. So y equals negative 5x. So y plus 5x equals 0. C, we've got a fraction for our gradient, but that's fine. So we've got y minus 3 equals negative 1/3 x minus negative 1 minus negative plus. So we've got y minus 3 equals negative 1/3 x, take 1/3, times everything by 3, because in general form you can't have fractions, it's a thing. So 3x take 9 equals negative x take 1. Now let's, 3y take 9. Let's get everything over to the left. So we're going to have 3y plus x, and we're going to have negative 9 plus 1, so take 8. E, finally, gradient negative 4/5 through the point 3, negative 4. So we've got y minus negative 4. Should I write minus negative? Why don't I just go plus? Equals negative 4/5 x minus 3. Expand on the right. Equals negative 4/5 x plus 12 on 5. Multiply everything by 5, because in general form we don't like fractions. So 5y plus 20 equals negative 4x plus 12. And now let's get everything over to the left. So plus 4x take 12. So we've got 5y plus 4x, and 20 take 12 is 8. Question 5, really similar, but we're going to have to figure out the gradient for ourselves, because they haven't told us the gradient, but they've told us whether it's parallel or perpendicular to these lines. And don't forget, the gradients of these lines is always the number in front of x. So here, the gradient, it's parallel, so it's going to be the same. So it's 2. So we've got y minus the y coordinate, which is 5, equals the gradient outside of x minus the x coordinate, which is 2. So we've got y minus 5 equals 2x, take 4. They've said in this question they want it in gradient intercept form, so this is the one we always aim for unless they specify general form. So we're going to get y on its own. So y equals 2x, we've got negative 4, we're plusing 5, so plus 1. This one, they're perpendicular. So when they're perpendicular, you do minus 1 over the other gradient. And then we do as normal. So y minus 5 equals negative a half outside of x minus 2. So y minus 5 equals negative a half x plus 1. Y equals negative a half x plus 1 plus 5 is plus 6. Oh no, I can't fit these on this line. Okay, it's perpendicular to negative 5, so this time we've got minus 1 over minus 5, which comes out as positive a fifth. So y minus the y-coordinate, which is negative 7, equals 1/5 outside of x minus 5. So we've got y plus 7 equals 1/5 x take 1. And we're going to subtract 7, so we've got y equals 1/5 x take 8. Here it's parallel to 3/7, so the gradient is just 3/7. So we've got y minus 6 equals 3/7 x minus negative 7. So y minus 6 equals 3/7 x plus 3/7 of 7, 3. And we're going to plus that 6 over, so y equals 3/7 x plus 9. Finally, E, we've got that point, and perpendicular, so the gradient is negative 1 over negative 2/5. Now, when we divide by a fraction, the bottom of that fraction goes to the top because it's like multiplying by the reciprocal of that fraction. So it's multiplying it by it upside down. So we get positive because it's negative and negative, 5 on 2. So y minus 0 equals 5 on 2 outside of x minus negative 4. So y minus 0 is y, 5 on 2x plus 5 on 2 times 4 is 10. Question 6, now we have 2 points and we have to figure out the gradient between them. You know how to do this. We've got 13 take 7 over 6 take 4, which gives us, what's that, 6 over 2, 3. And now we're going to use point gradient form, so our normal thing. Y minus y1, which I'm going to use 7, equals the gradient outside of x minus x1, which I'm going to use 4. We could have used 16 and 3. I just prefer to work with smaller numbers. Y minus 7 equals 3x take 12. And now we plus 7 to both. Oh, general form. I hate this. So I'm going to get them all over to the left. So I've got y minus 3x, and I've got negative 7 plus 12, so plus 5 equals 0. Next one, we're finding the gradient and then the equation of each of these, the line between each of these pairs. So the first thing, gradient. So we've got 8 take 4 over 5 take 3. So that's 4 over 2, which is 2. Then we've got y minus y1 equals the gradient outside of x minus x1. So y take 4 equals 2x take 6. Now they haven't specified how they want it, so my default is always y equals mx plus b because it's more useful to work with. So I'm going to get it y on its own. So I'm going to take that 4 over by plussing it. So y equals 2x, negative 6 plus 4, take 2. C, okay, the gradient. I've got 4 minus 6 over negative 1 minus 5. So that's negative 2 over negative 6. So that's positive 1/3. Okay, so then I've got y minus y1 equals the gradient outside of x minus x1. So y minus 6 equals 1/3 x take 5 on 3. I'm going to plus 6 over, so I get y equals 1/3 x. Now I've got negative 5 on 3 plus 6, so it's plus 13 on 3. And E, the gradient, I've got 0 take negative 1 over negative 4 take 0. So that's negative a quarter. So y minus y1 equals the gradient outside of x minus x1. So I've got y plus 1 equals negative a quarter x. So y is negative a quarter x, take 1. Okay, question 6 is question 9 in the advanced book. Actually, no, I'll do this in the next video.